It is time. All right. I've been working on this a bit off stream. And, yeah. There's the update. Goes away. I want to... This updates velocity. I set up the things, and then I will... I need to... I think the best way to do it is probably just to do this. No. Wait. This goes after. Wait, it needs to do something at the start. Let us do that. And then I have to do that here. Right, this is what I do. Man, I'm sorry. I just ate. Okay. That's whatever. I can just calculate it every time. So I have that velocity step. I'm going to get position step. Okay, warm start. Should I just call it setup velocity instead? It's technically what this is. Maybe update velocity should just at the end. Or, in fact, as it's going, this should be putting into the constraint, because this is only going to be called once. And this is not necessary. Shouldn't these... They will. Yeah, they will. I store the initial. And I don't think I have to do this then. This needs to happen prior to the update? No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. That's fine. Does this matter? This does not happen. It does need a delta. I don't see a reason to have this as a function. All right. So what I want to do is I want to do some math to figure out how many velocity steps, how many position steps I'm doing. I guess my idea is I want to split however many I'm actually going to do. Take that number, divide it in half, and then maybe split it between 4 iterations. So that would mean if I have 16 steps cut in half, I will simulate 8 steps. And I split those between 4 iterations. Does that even make sense? For velocity steps, it doesn't really matter. It's going to be the same every time. Just do a quarter. This has some, well, I'll do the same thing. I do a quarter each, and I want to round it up. And there's some specific math here. This is the math. This is raised to how many I want to do. So if I want a quarter, I guess it would just be like doing a quarter then, right? Let me verify that. Should I be taking this off? Yeah, I think I meant to take that off. What? I was thinking I would get 0.2 out of this, but I'm not getting 0.2 out of it. Okay. I do see how it's working. So what is this number? 1 over... Is this supposed to be how many I want to do? 1 over how many I will do? So like if I did 1 over... Okay, I see it. So this is 1 over how many I want to do. So if I say I want to do a quarter as many. Well, I mean, I say a quarter as many. So it'd be 1 over 16. So do 1 over 16 over 4. Which would be the equivalent of doing 4 over 16. Which is the equivalent of a quarter. Okay. So I just say 0.25. And that's the factor I use. Yes, that's right. That predicts it, and then I think clean part state. Yeah. So that's the prediction. I'm gonna say 2. So I'm thinking I would type in 1 to say that I want to do all of them. Okay, it has to be specifically one over 16 over 1, which is the same as 1 over 16. Oh, I guess I actually have it then. Never mind. So this would be position steps over Oh, wait, this is supposed to be cached. Because it's the real value, and then I want to raise that to maybe it's just 1 over position steps then. That's probably it. It's supposed to be 1 over position steps. Because if this was 16, like a 1% accuracy, then it'd be 1 over 16, which would be correct. If this was 2, then it'd be 1/2, which would also be correct. So I'll do that. Try to catch it right when it flips. The angle is deviating and not correcting. I can't remember if I had like a mistake somewhere. The prediction for the angle just went off the screen, so that's not very good. Yeah, what I noticed would happen is once it would get close, then something would trip and it would like shoot off in the wrong direction. Yeah, so that's happened. My angle prediction is incredibly wrong. And then I think it's just going to never come back. So I get to see why that might be happening now. But maybe the 2 iterations is probably bad. Okay, so I want to start here. Already have the breakpoint there. That's the wrong thing. That's actually right. What? I'll check these. This one should be correct. Check that. Okay. So I predicted a 0 joint velocity, and I got that. Though the velocity error is nothing, which means I'm getting the velocity that I wanted, which is weird. Apparently I want a negative 228. But I computed that I would get a negative 038. That's just not right. And it is doing 4 steps. It's doing the 4 steps. So yeah, clearly I just have a ridiculous, completely ridiculous prediction that makes no sense. I said I want this velocity, and I got that velocity. And I'm like, oh yeah, but actually I think I'm gonna have this velocity. So that's wrong. Wow, that's my prediction? So I predicted that and I actually got this. So I'm also way off there. And that makes sense. Yes, that's really bad. Yeah, that's really bad. It's very, very different. It's the exact opposite of that one. Wow. That's like exactly the same value. That's nice. That one's not. That one's very wrong. That's incredibly wrong. So I want to go from 0.4 to 0.3. That's negative. So I want a positive target velocity. 0.41. Hey, Denon. All right. So I still get what I want there. Trending to positive is the ideal. Olmec, Bob, my beloved angel. Angle is the wrong word. Step out of that. Obtain the constraint. These are setting on the motor, right? Clean applies the motor, right? Angled freak. Okay, I don't know what that means. Right. I would expect to see the joint velocity approach 0.03 or get there very quickly. And then the next time it comes around, it says, hey, that's not enough, let's do more. And then it's going to do more. Though it is still going to be maxed out on acceleration already, so. That's probably where the math problem then is then, isn't it? I think I have like a bug in the math. It must be. Because it reaches it and then it just like continues accelerating very hard in the wrong direction. Okay, I'm good with that. I think I will watch this though. Because this should get there. So I will look at current velocities. Present transforms are basically fine. Negative 0, 0, or 1, 2, 1. Is parent. Body is positive 2, 2, 8, 1, 2, 3. Actually, I should really probably just be looking at the actual part. Should part thinks our joint velocity is negative 2, 2, 8, 1, 8, 8. Is that roughly? Yeah, sure, close enough, right? Want to become a public school teacher? Never. Well, I mean, I can't say never, I guess. Unlikely. So there's that. So this is a minus a negative, so this will cause that value to increase. The y coordinate to increase. Yeah, that increased. 003443. It's going to be adding a negative, so this one will decrease. Yeah, that makes sense, right? They should be slowing down. Really, I want to reverse it. So 228123. 040374. Okay, so you've gotten really close. Not exact. And I mean, the numbers are probably off too, because the axis is not perfect. That's a good velocity step. That's correct. And it's going to run 4 times, so it should actually get much spot on. It should be able to get spot on. Let's step over those two and look. Is that positive? Yeah. So it got better. Definitely needs more to get there, but it got better. So I'm thinking what's going to happen is that the next time this runs through, and maybe I'll just let this solve. That's 1, I'm doing it 4 times. 2 times. Just over that. 3 times. Okay. Yeah, so it's actually getting really close to the prediction. Should get a job on one of those data center building sites. Imagine just destroying houses and trees and all day. Yeah, okay. Pretty sure by the time they start building it, though, it's already flat land. Things have already been taken away. So I don't think I'd be part of that. Last iteration. It definitely improved a lot. Those run and we'll mess it up again. But not very much. Yeah. Okay. So it's actually converging really well. Now this step. My thing is, so far it's correct. So it's only gonna, it definitely can only start being wrong in the next run. Someone has to flatten it out. That would be you. What I'm saying is by the time the company who is constructing gets there, it's already been flattened. Is what I'm saying. Yeah, this guy, I can't imagine this being wrong. Just gonna let that run. I don't really care about that one. Okay. No, it's definitely at this point that it goes really wrong and something tragic happens. Because if it was going from 0.2 to 0.03, then there'd be no problem. But it's definitely not doing that. It is accelerating. And actually, crazy enough, the joint velocity is actually almost perfect. 39832. 39692. It's really close. So somehow this one's gonna just do something terrible. And totally, like, more than undo the work. It's gonna make it worse. Substantially worse. Huh? It thinks it substantially overshot the angle. But even that shouldn't matter. I mean, that's fine. That should be okay. So it wants to increase the angle, which means this is going to be a negative rotation. Wow. Really? What? That doesn't make sense to me. How is that the result of this? This should have done this angle difference times 4. It's like 8 times 4. It comes out as 30. That doesn't make sense. And the only thing it could be doing is returning that difference. So target minus measure. Because again, like, this is what happens. No, I did not. How does this happen? Also, I just don't believe that. How does that make sense? It's saying that by slowing down, it's completely like tracked backwards. By slowing down. In a single step, it thinks it's reversed the angle. The current angle was 0.4. And then after one iteration, it's like, oh yeah, now it's at 0.2. That just isn't possible. How could that happen? The velocities don't look ridiculous, I think. It's definitely not correct. It definitely did not. Because essentially what I'm doing is I'm saying, okay, if I'm 10 degrees away, let's go 40 degrees per second. I step 100th of a second, and somehow I've gone 10 degrees plus 10 is what it's looking like to me. Like, instead of doing 40 degrees per second, I did 200 degrees per second. Do I have... Am I missing a multiply in the integration? That's correct. I reload all the transforms. Times the delta. That doesn't make any sense to me. I reached the velocity, but there's no way that a single... That's not possible. It's not possible. That's not possible. That could not have happened. That I stepped over it in 100th of a second. That's absolutely incorrect. Whenever my Pathfinder enemy sudden collisions added a shape cast. Yeah, it just sounds like your nav mesh, your navigation just is good. It's not enough info for me to even like begin to help you. I already walked through all this code and it looked all correct to me. Everything looked right. Okay. I'm sure this is correct. I'm actually positive on that one. This one I'm not so positive that it's correct. Because this actually has a lot of stuff. This could be wrong. Yeah, I mean, first of all, yeah, okay. I know for a fact that my position stuff is wrong. There's no way that's correct. That is super wrong. Super incorrect. There's just no way that the angles between the two can change that much in 100th of a second. That's ridiculous. I mean, they're both moving at like a low velocity too. They both have a really low velocity. So like, unless somehow they're just continuously moving somewhere, like in the wrong way. I mean, yeah, I wanna look at this one. I need to compare this one. Drawing messages with the rendering server. Like multi-meshes. I'm sure that's correct. Clamp, if clamp is not equal to 0, we do this. So if it's equal to 0, we return false. Constraint to body 2. Body 2, body 1. Rotate by this, inverse that. Calculate constraint properties for the rotation Euler constraint. So we get the real rotations, inverse inertia for rotation. These actually modify the transform, right? Damn it. They're not technically modifying the transform in that way. Oh, man. Yeah, okay. I do see what's happening. I do see what's happening. These values have to update. This has to... Okay, well, technically this whole thing doesn't really matter because this... So point constraint actually doesn't... This can change. Okay. I see it. I do see it. Let's call it basis. Let's call it basis. This is definitely the kind of, alright, good luck. This is definitely the kind of bug that I needed fresh eyes to notice. 100%. Because that just sucks. Yeah. Because I mean, my guess is that maybe center of mass does move. Yeah, center of mass is supposed to move. No, it's not. But this should be changing. Okay. I could use center of mass local. So I can be sure that I'm rotating it right. Okay. So I think my idea is I'm going to use breakpoints to check this. Well, yeah. Because I can check this because I can go here and hit continue and look at the center of mass and see if it's moved. The center of mass should change position every time this runs. Because I wasn't directly setting the transform, that means I'm assuming it isn't able to update the center of mass position. This would change, but this would not change. Setting the transform directly should cause that to change. Okay. And I'm going to duplicate this. Because this one will not change unless I set the velocity, unless I set the entire transform. That one does not change, for sure. Which means it's basically going 20% to like an old position 4 times over, which is definitely wrong. So it should be going 40% there, and then 40% there, and then like getting closer. Those would be like 40%, 40%, and it just shoots off, right? Yeah, that actually makes total sense now. Oh, it could do that. Yeah, because this is probably the biggest one that needs to be correct. Okay, so my angle prediction is really wrong, which I don't like. So I'm gonna go ahead and start looking at this to see. All right, so that's what it looks like right now. Remember this one's 77723. Cool, it changed. All right. And then I want to see it approaching things, so I want to see these like. Actually, looking at body. 7, 8. That's real good. I think this is the last one too. So I step out and I'll jump into here and see what it thinks. So what do you think happened? Well, that's actually still correct then. Yeah, so IK angle is 273, joint angle became 1162. And then velocity is some big negative value, so it'll keep trying to accelerate. So I should get a negative value out of this. I get a positive value out of this. I think it's because, I mean, I do have a velocity prediction here. This one's really close. The top and the bottom of the screen for the predictions are half a degree. So this means I'm within like 0.3 degrees per second of my velocity prediction, which is really, really good. Angle prediction is not good when it's more than half a degree off. Probably not. At least it's definitely not good if it's that far off when it starts to get close. Okay, but either way, this isn't like flipping the sign of it, right? We're saying, you know, oh, I'm going too fast. I want to slow down or something. That's whatever, right? Current desired velocity is 69813. So I'm going to update the desired to 629. So it's still the same thing. Okay. That's got it. That definitely was a big problem. I'm going to step this forward a few times until I see the angle error kind of snap down. Okay, I mean, this is what I would normally look like too. And then at some point it would snap and just go totally nuts. It's not going crazy. There's the start of it going crazy. Okay. So at this point, it thinks something is just totally crazy. It's doing what it was doing before. Because once that angular prediction goes up here, then that means I am going the wrong way or something. Or like it thinks that after a single step I'm going to be too far, and now it's like trying to reverse direction or accelerate faster. Is what that means, which is not good. So is it really still just this? I mean, but the center of mass is still updating correctly. I just need to be really specific about checking to see what it thinks has happened. This is kind of crazy though. The body has this huge z angular velocity. Maybe it doesn't matter. Alright, but center of mass. That's parent. This one. And I guess I should look at transform too and see if these make sense. I guess I could actually watch the separation and see what the separation is doing, because the separation should be dropping every time this runs. So there's a separation. Though it does also mean that these have to change. I mean, okay, well, first of all, the separation is really low in this anyway. I may have to. I mean, it's not exploding. That's 3. Yeah, I mean, but I don't know. Alright, that makes more sense. That makes a lot more sense. Yeah, okay, that's good. Okay, that's good. Though the angle prediction is worrying. I don't know, maybe I'm just too early and I need to step through it a few more times and see. We basically want to stop. And I'm going to assume that's probably what's happened here. This number's really familiar too. -03. So we're getting really close. So yeah, we still want to be positive, but barely positive. Or no, we want to increase. So we want to be negative, but barely negative. It's actually a really large negative value. But sure. Sure. Still fine. Current desired motor velocity is -179. And am I about to set it to something more? Probably. Maybe not. Yeah, 19. Okay. It seems like it might actually be fine. Nothing there looked odd. I'm just skeptical that it's about to reverse. Yeah, it's kind of getting there. Okay. So this is really close. So this should be wanting to basically stop right now. This should be wanting to stop. I predicted negative 037. I got negative 2, which is just... What? Yeah, I don't get it. That is my desired, but that's not what I calculated it would become. So there's still something wrong with that? What is that? Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. What is that? That doesn't make any sense. I'm thinking that my positive velocity is going to make the air angle worse. That doesn't make any sense. Because I'm like right on top of it. And I can definitely say that 0.25 is not... That is not 0.25. 0.25 would be like over here. Quite a distance away. See, I'm really incorrect. Yeah, okay. Yeah, this one, my velocity prediction error is definitely got to be really, really wrong. Because that's causing the angle prediction to be super wrong too. Whoops. Yeah, they should be the same. Well, they'll be a little bit different because I've had the warm start, so it's a little bit different. That should be identical. Yeah, so my velocity should be 0. It should be like, all right, we need to stop. I should be saying that I want to stop. And then it seems like what happens is it gets in there and says, okay, we want to stop. And then it goes through the second time and says, oh, wow, we're really far away now. Let's accelerate. It doesn't make any sense. Because that's just not how the velocity should be updating. You want to increase barely, so it should be like a very, very small negative value. Let's say very small. Just a negative value. It's not even a max acceleration. That's still correct. That all seems correct to me. And then I'm assuming it might actually be the same thing happening again, where I get the velocities out that I want to have, but then the position prediction is like, oh yeah, we're super incorrect with that. It's like, what? How? How are you wrong? Maybe it is actually using the wrong velocities. Maybe that's actually happening. So they should not have modified these yet. So these should be the exact same as the warp start right now. Yeah, exact same values. Okay. So load in. And I'm just still assuming that these are pretty good. Is it just too few velocity steps? Because yeah, if this is supposed to be reaching 0, then that's wrong. 0, 4. This is the angular velocity it's been left with. Okay, so let me watch this one again then. Because that's just definitely wrong. It's really wrong. All right. Yeah, this is better. But then after it goes to the next two, that's kind of bad. Yeah, it's being weird. Could the point constraint velocity be wrong? Yeah, I don't know. Yes, I did. All right, that's good to know. Glad you do that. Close. And I mean, the bias could be wrong as well, but not the bias. Just because this world axis, these aren't aligned perfectly, that the velocity actually would be slightly different. Okay. So I load the part's initial transform, which right now it should be the exact same. That should just be the exact same transform. So yeah, you know what? Let me do this. I will add. I'll just add a shape, collision shape 3D. And give it this one. Paste unique. And then this is the initial transform. Copy. So this is the initial transform. I'm going to just hide that so I can see these initial very solid green color. Okay. And now I'm going to let this move. Give this a red color. Why did it change both colors? Are we serious? What is... What? What? I am blown away by that, in fact. Okay. Alright, so it just basically didn't move at all. Basically did not move. Right? Pretty much didn't move. Using AI for development at all? No. I have a channel tag that says no AI. And then where are we at? Need to go find the chain. It's right. I'm looking straight at it. No, I need the constraint. I'll find out which one of these is doing wrong. Because one of these is going to move it in a totally strange place, is what's going to happen. Damn, bro. Why? Do you think people are not capable of writing software? Okay, I think I just make this one. This should just be. Then I can see it. I'm gonna put it there. Okay, so I'm gonna see that main body. I start with that doesn't seem right. It's definitely not right. Oh, but I do set it back to that, so it's actually probably correct. Yeah, that looks right. Okay. He's too dumb to use AI. I mean, that's correct, though. Okay. Now I want to do this. And I think I'm actually wrong because this is going to be in a weird place, isn't it? I think it's going to be in a weird place. Oh yeah, why does it look like that? It's because that's the origin. Stop. Thank you. This one. This one just a transform of negative of positive 0.1. Is this correct? The origin is actually where the constraint is? Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so this one's barely moved, so this one looks good. Well, I mean, okay. This is integrating the velocity. Velocity is definitely right. It still seems that the position constraints are just totally wrong. They've got to be wrong. So I'm assuming is what happens is it comes out of this and says 0.5. It'll come out of this and say we moved 20 degrees and we're only supposed to move 10. But in reality, this has barely changed. Mixo is messed up. Scaling? I know that at one point something bugged on their site. And I think it was that I couldn't change the skin or I couldn't change the animation or something. The thing that I wanted, I wasn't allowed to change anymore. So every time I clicked download, it would give me the last thing that actually successfully changed. And then I, like, refreshing the site, clearing the cookies, it just didn't work for some reason. I don't know what they were doing. Like, they cached my IP and just kept giving me their garbage data. And I couldn't clear it. Okay, but this is correct. It's body, yeah. Yeah, that's all right. And the shape. And then I have a marker, which would be something here. Chain. Cannot reliably represent. Cool. Part constraint. Parent constraint. Parent local. Something called this a bunch of times. Paste. Oh, I've still got it open. Okay, I don't have to travel back through it. Copy that. And that seems like relative to what? Okay. This might be where the issue is then. Because this should be relative to center of mass, and it may be taking it relative to the origin. Maybe not. Let me look at this instead. Part constraint, point constraint has I will make a video about that and you better watch. Okay. Okay, something here is supposed to be not relative to center of mass. This seems wrong. Because that parent local is relative to center of mass, which that's how it should be. That one should be relative to center of mass. But if I'm calculating these as not in that way, then that's going to be bad. So I will do this. So this I want. I have to get center of mass I'll just let this go through. I have not tried to resume from that long ago before. Is this gonna crash? Because technically it should have just jumped down one line, and it's not jumping down one line. It's gonna be sad. It's not gonna do it. I want to look at this. Is there a way I can make this pause the scene on a certain frame? I will put it in player. You know what? Maybe this is actually just a good good thing to have. Because maybe I want to know the precise frame or physics frame that I pause on. Oh man. My voice is weak. Paused. I mean, I think this number doesn't stop counting. So how about this? How about I track that instead? I would like to know the physics frames, the unpaused physics frames. What is on-step physics? Right. I mean, maybe I don't need to print it, but I do want to count it. don't need to track anything. Track anything else? Jeez, my voice is just gone or something. You know what? Let me see. Every time I pause and unpause, print it. Yeah, that number's counting up a lot. So even though the scene is paused, it still counts every single frame. Super annoying. Yeah, this shouldn't be getting called when that's running. Wait, what? That number's counting up still? Right, right. No, never mind. I actually get it. There. Huh. That's insane. So, I mean, okay. Okay. I guess that makes sense, but that's weird. It's because of this. Cool. Right. So to do that, I can open up Input Manager and look and see what physics tick is set to. And my idea is that I just want player to pause on a certain physics tick. Or I don't know, physics skeleton, test body, we just test body. Yeah, I think just test body. Oh man. What is about 3 seconds in? That's ticks. Yeah, 3 seconds, right? 100 ticks per second. Okay, so right here. Oh, maybe not. Hang on. Yeah, okay, it's a little bit further. Once it gets really close, that's when it becomes incorrect. Yep. So this point is definitely wrong. So I want this frame. 362. Cool. Okay. So we'll pause there, and then I'm able to step backwards. Or what? Step forwards. I wanted to decrement this by 1, so I was like thinking of backwards. Okay. Alright, so that's going to pause the place that I wanted to pause. Right, I'm going to ignore that. Yeah. So I want to get this part, and then I want to get that transform, and see what the differences are. Whoops, I put it too soon. Okay, so on the frame. Right. Right. So then I will see the moved part. Right, very, very close to the original locations. So this is how it moved. By velocity, from here to here. Which is almost nothing. I think this is probably because it's like technically falling or something right now. I'm not sure what it is. Yeah. Because it goes up. Maybe it's like the body in the background is moving. Okay. So to get the main body. Cool. And then the moved body. I copy these colors. Okay, cool. And then the moved. Alright, so this one also barely moved. Center of mass. I think relatively these are all just going to be positive 0.5. Yes, that's actually really interesting how different that is. Well, I mean, no, it's not interesting at all because that's what it should be. That's how I know that there's an angle between the two, because these two are not in the same plane. Okay. Oh, tell me it froze. Okay, good. It's like, please don't tell me that just happened. Alright. Step in here. I'm going to duplicate these. There's going to be the constrained. And I don't know, I guess I'll make these this blue color. I gotta sneeze. Oh man, okay. Alright, constrained parts. So hopefully these are not going to just fly off into some crazy infinity here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at what each one of these does and see. And if they end up in like some crazy position where they're obviously not correct, then that's that, right? So this is the rotation. One of these two's got to be wrong. They could both be wrong, but one of them has to be wrong. So let's check what this one just did. So this is a parent constrained main. And then position 004149. I think these are actually the exact same. $590,119. 12785. Yeah. Okay. So this one, I can't even tell that I moved it. I can't even tell, which is good. Body, you check body. That just changed a lot, I think. Did that just change a lot? No, not really. Not that it moved. 141296. 141296. 75647. 541283. Yeah, so this one didn't move it at all. It just rotated it, which is good. In this case, the rotation should be moving it. Should only be rotating them. So that's fine. Now then, I suppose this one is probably wrong. Really changed it. 4149 or 18 00418. I mean, but that's like such a small change, though. Five nine oh 146. One two eight one nine. This barely moved it. So that's still good. Now, his body been obliterated. Yeah. 141296. 446. Okay, so it looks like it's fine. Unless one of these is gonna it's gonna move it a meter in one of these axes suddenly. Seven five five oh eight. It's not moving it. 541453. So, what's the calculation that's wrong then? Because that just straight up didn't move it. That actually just didn't move it. So, oh please, come on. Please do it. Okay. I'll step in here, let both of these run, and I will grab the final results. It's the parent. Six. 6. One, two, 8, 1, 4, 1, 4, 8. Yeah. This must be fun. So then what's my mistake then? Because it comes back and says the angle is like totally wrong. So I don't know what that is, because it literally comes back and says like, oh yeah, we went from like crazy. 5, 4, 6. Yeah, I mean, this just isn't even different. So, I mean, this is just the same angle, right? From the initial to the constrained. The angle has literally not changed, in fact. Well, I mean, it's changed very slightly, yeah? It's very slight. In fact, it's like moved back slightly. Then yeah, it seems like once it comes back around, it calculates that the angle is just something ridiculous that makes no sense at all. So I get to try and figure out what that could possibly be. Because it's like here, that it's just totally wrong. So the present angle is 3, 1. The joint velocity should just be the same velocity that I wanted to be at. So 179 is what I should end up calculating out of this. Desired 179. I got that doesn't make sense. That's wrong. Okay. So this velocity makes sense for the difference that I saw. So I would say it's really clear that it did not approach the velocity it was supposed to be approaching. It is not approaching the velocity it's supposed to be approaching. It looks like it tried to stop the velocity. That's what it tried to do. This part computed an IK, a current joint angle of this, an IK angle of this, and it said I want to have this negative value velocity, and it just solved to stopping itself. Which is weird why that happened. What will they make parodies of? They are literally gonna make parodies of Donald Trump until they die. Okay, so that's the problem right there then. Because I'm looking at the y velocities too, and it's like, yeah, this is a small value. This is not what it was supposed to be. Okay, but I think I've confirmed that it's not the position stuff. The position stuff did not go haywire there. It's the velocity went haywire. Yep. So, yeah, what I wanted was that, apparently. I calculated that. Okay, so yeah. My desired velocity was 1.9. It came back as pretty much the same value. Okay. Just continue. Okay, there's my desired motor velocity. Now, it must be this. This is wrong. This is ending up incorrect. But I believe these are correct. These are the proper I believe these are the proper values. Right, so motor constraint 3. The bias is that value. So I step in and I measure this. So there is that. And then yes, I mean, this looks like kind of what I want it to be, right? I think my camera covers it, but I can see the velocities. They look exactly correct to me. So when this applies the velocity step, it should actually barely change these two. I think it's supposed to barely change these two. But I'm thinking it may be that looking at how this is set up, it's probably meant to be taking a positive. Because I measure the angular velocity to be this has got to be wrong somehow. I just don't know how. So I've calculated a lambda of that, which, whatever this means. So wait, is effective mass even correct? Is that actually right? Effective mass, is that right? I mean, I guess it could be anything at this point. This angle constraint is... Oh, this doesn't even use position. So the only thing this does is velocity. And it seems like it's wrong. Not seems. 100% this is wrong. It's absolutely wrong. It must be wrong. Okay. So if that's what the read-in for the total lambda was, this lambda should be a positive value. Because I want the total lambda to be decreasing or getting closer to 0. I've calculated a lambda that is the wrong way. So it's accelerating. Or at least it's acting in the wrong direction. So the math here is like, I mean, this part is correct, but the lambda calculation is definitely wrong. You see angular velocity, yeah. So that one didn't change. This one, actually, that looks correct. That's what that should have done. That is what that should have done. So that's right. That's right. So then where does it go wrong? Is it these? Do these destroy it? Okay. That just obliterated everything. Rotation constraint just nuked it. It just got rid of all the velocity. So that's not right. Because it acted on the Y and it should not have acted on the Y. Or rather, the Y, one of these acted when it wasn't supposed to. Is what happened. Okay, it froze. Or paused. Not froze. Where was I going? I was going here. This is definitely wrong. Some part of this is wrong. Because it just destroyed all the Y velocity and it should not have done that. So which part of these does it? So limit Y active. So limit Y active. The difference is that limit Y is not quite like that. Limit y is operating on a different sort of axis. That's supposed to be like this body's that direction. Which seems like that's what it is. It's going to act on that axis. So here's the incoming velocities. These are, the motor is definitely right. I'm sure the motor's right. So does this one destroy it? That didn't destroy it. Okay. The limit z is active, which is a problem, because the limit z is actually thinking it like hits an edge or something. So why is limit z active? Yeah, because this is off right now. Okay. Okay. So something weird has happened then. Is it that it's passing the angles as a negative? Does Godot really pass the angles as negative there? That might be it. Because Godot is rage bait. Limits changed, rebuild. Just close rebuild. Limit lower. Axis angular lower is the negative upper and upper is the negative lower. Okay. That's what's going on. It happens to be that the angle I put it to is exactly where it technically overextends. So that's pretty simple to try to correct, I think. So set rotation limits. There it is. Yeah, it's just gonna be like that. Lower is negative upper, upper is negative lower. Just be like that. Okay. Does that explain literally everything? I can't see it. Okay, but I'm sure those are all fine. I'm sure those are all right. I don't see the weird thing happening. Amazing. Okay. I will now open test body because I closed it. Yeah, I'll leave that on. I will add one joint at a time, checking it every step. Invalid call remove chain. What? A placeholder instance. I can tell you it is not a placeholder instance. It's not. Is it? Test body. Physical skeleton. What? Huh? What? Why is it like that? Weird. Okay. Non-existent function. Invalid access. Can we just stop? That's insane. That's just insane. Where is it? Is this a scene? Invalid access. Why would that be wrong? It's global. Needed 2 IDs but got 1. Wait. Well, yeah, because this has been being mean for a while. Versus. There we go. And then this is showing again. Dude, Godot is so weird now. It's like not saving any of these settings correctly. Alright. So 0.4, yeah. Okay, so now this will move back and forth, and it should just work. Okay. So that did not work. That did not work at all. So what didn't work? Might just leave it there. Yeah, I think I just want to leave it there. Yeah. What could that be? Yeah, they're all very normal. Yeah, I mean, given the correct angles now, it's like immediately wrong. I guess I'll just see. Okay, so the tibia and I mean, just their velocity prediction is insane. Yeah, it just like falls because it can't lift itself or something. And then it starts to swing dramatically. I'm assuming this kick is from, yeah, because I see velocity error, right? Shoots off. I'm assuming that kick is because it fell and it's just dissipated its energy into rotating it backwards like this. And yeah, I would just say that the tibia is just kind of insane. I mean, I guess I could try and set femur to have a derivative term. Because then it can technically improve itself a little bit, maybe. No, it's just very wild. Well, I do know one thing that I have. I said I was going to just leave it there, but I don't know. Let's go to 4, and let's say third. Let's do a third. So it still falls. And then that gives it a velocity kick. I was going to say, but it seems like it recovers. No, it just straight up doesn't. It does not recover. In fact, it's just getting worse. So the velocity error is off the center line like this, it means the incoming velocity was lower than the velocity it wanted to have. Oh, I was going to say it actually kind of recovered there, but not really. It failed pretty much right away. I mean, I do see this angle error hit, like, sit very close to the center line there, but then it rebounds really, really hard, which is odd. And I'm guessing it's probably from the angle prediction being super bad. Probably. What if I did 5? No, it seems like my angle prediction is just terrible. Yeah, okay. It's just really, really bad. About John? Yeah, me too. I have more to look at still for why this is just so excessive. And it just seems like it's my predictions that are really wrong. Even though I'm doing half the number of steps. And I'm iterating it 4 times. Because it should just be getting better. Alright. It's going to be it from me for today. I'll see if I'm back tomorrow. I'll probably keep working on this tomorrow, but, you know, stream maybe, maybe not. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.